Chapter 1. You're staring at me again. Hannah Swensen emerged from the bathroom in a cloud of steam, a towel wrapped around her unruly red curls. She grabbed her favorite robe, shrugged into it quickly, and turned to face the only other occupant of her bedroom. It's not polite to stare at me when I'm not wearing anything and you're sitting there in your fur coat. When there was no response to her comment, Hannah sat down on the edge of the bed and picked up the package of pantyhose she'd purchased on her way home from the Cookie Jar, her coffee shop and bakery. She wasn't looking forward to putting on her best formal clothing on the hottest, muggiest evening ever recorded in Lake Eden, Minnesota's history. Actually, if she was completely honest, she never enjoyed donning formal clothing, even when the weather cooperated. She was much more comfortable in jeans and a Billboard t-shirt, or, as a concession to her family, a comfortable pantsuit. She wasn't looking forward to tonight's party, either. She'd much rather spend the evening on her living room couch, sipping cold lemonade and watching a movie on television with one of her boyfriends, either Norman Rhodes or Mike Kingston. Unfortunately, her presence tonight was mandatory, since the Cookie Jar was catering dessert. "It's not the heat, it's the humidity," she told her roommate, who was watching her intently. At least, that's what Great-Grandma Elsa always used to say. But she also used to say that nobody in Minnesota needed air conditioning, that a fan blowing over a block of ice was enough. This comment was met with widened eyes and what she interpreted as an incredulous look. "I know," she reassured him. "Great-Grandma Elsa was wrong. Or maybe it was cooler back in her time. I'll turn the air conditioning on high, just as soon as I'm through getting dressed." Even though the sun would be setting while she was gone, Hannah knew that air conditioning would be necessary. In some areas of the country, the nights cooled off considerably, but not in central Minnesota. Perhaps the temperature would drop a few degrees as night approached, but that wouldn't provide much relief. The outside walls of her condo had been baking in the sun all day, and they would still be warm to the touch long after midnight. It was hot in her bedroom. She'd opened the window to let in some outside air, but the curtains hung limp and lifeless. There was no breeze, and the humidity was still sky-high. Hannah could testify to the fact, because even though she'd dried off thoroughly after her shower, her skin felt moist and hot again. "It's not even summer yet," she told him, sighing a bit. "The summer solstice isn't until June 20th this year, and today is only the 9th. Technically, it's still spring. And this afternoon, it was hot enough to fry an egg outside." It was difficult to tell, but Hannah thought he looked impressed at this news. Earlier in the afternoon, when the mercury had reached its highest peak in the thermometer that hung outside the window in the coffee shop, her customers had decided that it was hot enough to cook an egg on the hood of a car. Hannah's partner, Lisa Herman Beesman, had volunteered her old black Ford for the test, and the egg was duly cracked on the hood. After 12 minutes in the blazing sun, the yolk was still a bit runny, but the white was definitely cooked. Since no one wanted to stand around in the heat any longer to wait for the yolk to solidify, a dozen or so customers who'd trooped out to the parking lot to watch had declared the experiment a success. Hannah rolled up one leg of the pantyhose and glanced over at him again. It seemed to her that he was smiling. "Watch it," she warned. "I don't know if you can laugh or not, but if you even look amused, I'll... She paused to choose the most effective threat. "I'll put you on a diet." The 23-pound orange and white tomcat who was perched on top of her dress